When we look out into the universe, there's a sense of awe and wonder and anticipation of discovering definitive proof that there may be other civilizations out there. As humans, we are hardwired to be curious about the unknown, whether it's over the ocean, on the other side of the mountain, or across the void of space.
Hello! Welcome to Roswell, New Mexico, the home of all things weird. Yes, this is the capital. This is where it all supposedly happened. We're so glad you could join us. The locals have a lot of fun with their images of UFOs and aliens and little green men. It's all a lot of fun, and frankly, it's very profitable. When you go into town here, there's merchandise galore, all based on the UFO stories, and there are plenty of them.
Roswell is the UFO capital of the world because of what happened nearby in 1947. Debris was found that some thought was the wreckage of a crashed alien spaceship, but the military declared that it was a weather balloon. Various theories about the Roswell incident have been debated ever since.
So my name is Barbara Beck. I'm the publisher and president of the Roswell Daily Record. And also, my family owned the newspaper since 1935. It was very carefully set up by the military, the weather balloon story. The journalists they brought in from Albuquerque and elsewhere, and the equipment they brought in was special just to pose for that weather balloon story. So that wasn't spontaneous at all. It was very much posed. The sheriff didn't even get to see the artifact. It was whisked away by the military before he could actually observe what it was. Even the military said in a story we found in the Roswell Morning Dispatch, which is another newspaper that we own, my family owned, has different stories than the original UFO well-known Roswell Daily Record stories. So we're finding a lot of new content there too. For instance, there was a story of a White Sands rocket scientist. Dr. Zoen did not even know what it was. So there was a disc that went through White Sands. He's a Navy rocket scientist, and yet he said he had no idea what it was. Don't you think if it was a weather balloon, he would know what that was?
How much of the story was dictated by the Army Air Force?
That's interesting too, because I came across a story where in the old interview that I saw with the PR person, he says in the video that he gave the story, he took the story to the two newspapers because they wanted the local news to have it first. The military started out with that attitude, and then very shortly afterwards, it was, no, this is a weather balloon. I mean, I think that they realized that it was going to be a problem, and they wanted to cover up, what they thought it was. The artifact had a lot of interesting properties. One was if you crumpled it up, it would straighten up. Another was that the temperature would always stay the same no matter what was done to it. So you could heat it up and it would stay like 73 degrees or something near there. You could freeze it and it would stay 73 degrees. So that is pretty much unlike anything we have even today.
What's your personal hunch? Do you think there really was an alien craft?
Well, originally when I came to the newspaper, I was skeptical. And then I talked to a scientist wife from Los Alamos who her husband was there, and she told me some really interesting facts, which I was able to confirm that her husband was actually a scientist at Los Alamos. And especially since we've digitized both newspapers and we're comparing now all the headlines in 1947. So now I'm inclined to believe, with all the sightings and all the evidence I've seen, I believe that there was some sort of alien or unidentified, A lot of people have described the discs as they were discs. I've heard that they were spherical. I've heard some of them were flat. But the stories are very similar, that and we're still exploring right now. But from what we've seen, there's a lot of similarity in the stories.
Did the reporters of the day push back against the version being fed to them by the Army Air Force? Did they challenge what they were told?
Well, now it's so different. Reporting nowadays is nothing like 1947. I think then there was a lot more like you report what you're told to report. And the military really came down heavily about, okay, you're going to say this is a weather balloon. There is one report that I saw, the owner of the radio station was interviewed, and this was maybe in the 80s or whatever. And he said, I told them that you can't dictate to me what I think the story is. Someone came back within like a day and told him, look, if you do not change your story, then you're going to lose your license. Seems like people that were way up high were very concerned. They didn't want people to know. They wanted to stick with the weather balloon story and just let's move on. But there were so many disc sightings in the summer and even before the summer. It came up everywhere, and we were really surprised to find as many as we did.
So we're talking with a delightful person we've just met who shows some in-depth experience regarding UFOs. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Etheria in Roswell, New Mexico today. Loving it.
The capital of everything extraterrestrial. Mm-hmm. You were telling me that you are a medium or a psychic?
I am a medium and also a trance channeler. I go into full trance and channel extraterrestrials along with some other spirits and such. So I jokingly say I'm a petite medium because I'm small, but yes. So.
Excellent. And you also said that you have had some personal experiences. Without going into too much detail, what did you experience?
Well, I suspect I've probably been a contactee my entire life, but in 1998, things suddenly got woo-woo. And I was living in Los Angeles, California, up in the hills, and one night I was taken. They took me to a laboratory underneath downtown Los Angeles, of all places, because I'm thinking, really? Los Angeles? Why would they be here? I'm thinking Roswell or whatever. They took me to this lab. They showed me large test tubes full of fluid and babies that they were creating. It was fascinating, and what was extra interesting about that particular experience that started a lot of this is I'm a very emotional person by nature, but when I was with them, I had no emotion. It was totally cut off. And I was only logic. I functioned on pure logic. And to the point where I noticed it. And I go, this is weird. I don't feel anything. I'm just thinking like a scientist. About a week or two later, another group came. I think they wanted to find out what the first group showed me. Because the first group felt pretty friendly. They didn't hurt me or do anything bad. The second group, not so good. Very scary. And all I can remember now is I sensed them coming, like a light was coming in my door, and I got on the floor petrified. I've never felt fear like this before, and I'm just praying to God, don't let them know I'm in here. Please don't let them know I'm in here. I don't want to. And then I blacked out, and the next morning I woke up, so I don't know what happened, but they felt very negative to me. And I really do think they wanted to find out what the first one showed me. That's my guess.
So we're hearing both negative and positive about alien life.
Yeah, I do believe they're not all benevolent, but I also don't believe they're all evil, because there's the people who think, oh, they're all, demons or what. It's like, no. I think the majority are don't want to hurt us and are just studying us and that kind of thing.
They're searching for intelligent life. Good luck.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Don't get me started.
If you could communicate with an alien, what would you ask them? What would you want to know?
How do we get ourselves out of the mess we're in right now here? I mean, really, we need help. I wish they would intervene more. I really do. I'm not optimistic about the future of this planet in numerous ways right now. You know, and I mentioned to him maybe before you were here that I wish they would just come take me and my cats permanently, just get us off this planet, move us somewhere else.
Hi, we're here in beautiful downtown Roswell, New Mexico, and I'm standing next to
David Peebles from Lubbock, Texas.
from Lubbock. Well, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Come on, Buddy Holly. Oh, yeah.
Kim Neiman.
And your name is?
Ashley Neiman.
You're from?
Phoenix, Arizona.
My name is Carlos. This is my family, Sophia and Elena.
If you ever could talk with or communicate with somehow, maybe telepathy with an alien, what would you want to find out? What would you ask?
I would ask what advice would they give to the human race?
What advice? That's a good one. And you, what would you ask?
I want to know where they are from specifically in the universe.
How old are you?
I'm old enough to know better.
Personally, I would love to see what their spaceship autonomous driving is like. That's what I'm looking forward to. When I can just get in the car and then rise up and then there's no more traffic technically, right?
Right.
Where did you come from?
How many people have you abducted?
We found somebody here who claims to have seen an unidentified flying object, or UAP. It's changing terminology. Tell me what happened.
When I was growing up in Phoenix, I could look out our back window, and about every other night going up from where we lived, there would be 6 lights, 3 and 3, and it would be about 3 of them, and they would go up about halfway and completely disappear. As an adult, I saw the same UFO over a farm in Arvada, Colorado.
What shape was it?
It was round with
With-
blinking lights.
With lights.
And it was shining down on the horses.
We've heard about the Phoenix lights, a large triangular shaped
Oh, yeah.
craft. Did you see that?
I saw only the news clippings of it.
Even though you live there.
Yes.
So how are you feeling about this? Did this excite you or upset you?
At first, as a kid, I was scared because I didn't know what it was. You know, these weird lights going up and then just disappearing about halfway. And every other night it happened. But as I grew, as an adult, I wanted to know what it was.
And we still don't know.
Still don't know. I want to, though.
The truth is out there.
It is indeed.
So Nick Pope, where can we begin? What should we be telling the public about the aerial phenomenon? Is this something we can trust that is real?
I think what we should be telling the public is that after years of downplaying, debunking and denying, the US government is now changing its position on this and acknowledging that, firstly, there is a phenomenon, and secondly, that it does raise important defense and national security issues. This is not an acknowledgement of an extraterrestrial presence, but there's no getting away from the fact that that's obviously the theory that has most captured the imagination of the media and the public, and it's a theory that is still on the table. So we are debating this. Obviously, Congress is looking at this. There are multiple provisions on this in the National Defense Authorization Act. We had a report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, which hit on June 25th, 2021. All of this should say that this is no longer, if it ever was, a subject to be either ridiculed or ignored, but is something that should be looked at seriously and scientifically.
Are we on the cusp of some new information? Do you believe there's something big coming down the tube here soon?
I don't know whether we're heading for a single event that the UFO community would call disclosure with a big D, but I think we are in the middle of a process that is arguably disclosure with a little d, and that absolutely will go on. I guarantee there will be more official US military photos and videos released and more documents declassified. There'll probably be some leaks too. More pilots and radar operators will come forward. More intelligence community personnel who've been involved in these sorts of programs will speak out. There will be more congressional hearings for sure. So yeah, there is more to come. Whether it is, as I say, a single parting of the curtains reveal, I'm a little skeptical of that, but exciting times for sure.
We know that you are active in the UK in the military. How would you summarize your personal contact or experience with the Rendlesham Woods incident? What did you take away from that?
Well, I should say that I was a civilian employee of the UK Ministry of Defence, and in 1993 I did a cold case review of the Rendlesham Forest incident, which is Britain's best known UFO case from 1980. It is simply the perfect storm of a UFO case. Multiple military witnesses, UFO tracked on radar, left physical ground traces, including radioactivity levels assessed as being significantly higher than the average background. And I say assessed, I mean by the Defence Intelligence staff in the Ministry of Defence. And all of this is confirmed in the case file, which has now been largely declassified.
In a spiritual sense, are you uplifted, inspired, afraid? What do you feel when you review these alien ideas?
When I look out into the wider universe and when I think about what might be out there, and as I look forward to big science projects like the James Webb Space Telescope, the Square Kilometre Array, I look out with a sense of awe and wonder and anticipation. And I look forward to discovering definitive proof that there are other civilizations out there. And I think it will be a pivotal moment in human history. And although there are, of course, some dangers if we were to encounter civilization or civilizations more advanced than us and not friendly, if you took the view that you didn't want to take a chance and see what's out there, we never would have ventured beyond our initial cluster of villages in Africa. We never would have set sail across the ocean. You have to roll the dice. You have to decide to, fortune favors the brave.
My cameraman has been coming here to Roswell, New Mexico for many, many years. In fact, he came here every other year to visit relatives during his childhood growing up. But now, I can't find him. Carl! Hey! Carl!
it's hardwired into us to be curious about what's out there, whether it's what's beyond the ocean, what's over the mountain, or what's across the void of space. So let's find out. I look forward to it.